Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to yet another episode of the show. So, remember, like, comment, subscribe. Now, first off, I would like to start this on a bit of a somber note. Now, we're going to have a 10-second moment of silence for the late leader of Hezbollah, Hasan Nasrallah. Celebrate good times, come on. Ba 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 ba. Woo-hoo, celebrate good times, come on. Ba 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 ba. Woo-hoo. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, on this channel we celebrate the death of Axis leaders. We don't mourn them. Doesn't matter that they're people. We still celebrate it. Now look, when you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Hasan Nasrallah has been a man who has ordered his organization to take pop shots into northern Israel with bottle rockets and stomp rockets, essentially, in an attempt to stop the genocide in Gaza. Now, this started the day after October 7th, before the Israeli army even deployed into Gaza, so before any genocide even started. So, look, ladies and gentlemen, there has been a decapitating strike that has eliminated the coherence of Hezbollah as a unified organization in one fell swoop. Now, for the last couple weeks, there's been a huge, massive increase in the strikes that Israel has been taking against Hezbollah in Lebanon. Now, even before that, during the time where they were taking their pop shots, Hezbollah, Israel was hitting back. They would hit, a command post, maybe, or a area where they have a rocket launcher and there's a few guys manning the rocket launcher. They fire off a rocket. The Israelis see where it's coming from. They shoot and blow those guys up. Stuff like that. But nothing crazy substantial that would really threaten Hezbollah as an organization. But within the last couple weeks, it started with the pager explosion incident. Now, Hasan Nasrallah got the idea that, we shouldn't use our cell phones here. They're probably bugged, which, yeah, probably a good idea. And he decided to buy thousands of pagers, which are an obsolete technology that's not really commonly made anymore. He decided to buy these from a essentially unlabeled Taiwanese company that, I say unlabeled because what's supposedly their office doesn't even have any signage, nothing, not even in Chinese characters. There's no indication there's a company there. It's essentially a kind of fake or very sketchy company that they decided to buy from. And this Taiwanese factory, now it's not known whether they themselves did it or Mossad or CIA agents installed them later, but there were bombs installed inside the pagers. They bought it from an unmarked company, or with an unmarked building, from a Western-aligned nation. Interesting decision there. And those pagers all exploded one day, blowing off the hands, the private parts, the ears, or whatever of everyone who was carrying one, which was, of course, any officer in Hezbollah. So, right off the bat, basically every officer in Hezbollah had a chunk blown out of them. Later on, the same thing happened with their walkie-talkies. They'd put them up to their ear. Yeah. So it was not a fun couple weeks for Hezbollah. And during that time and after, boom, the strikes, boom, boom. They grew more and more and more intense, eliminating ammo depots, eliminating command centers, eliminating troop positions of Hezbollah on a massive, massive scale. And people were saying, oh my God, they're attacking regular houses. They're killing innocent civilians. Well, when they're striking these regular houses, there seems to be secondary explosions going off. Well, it seems that they were hiding missiles, bombs, ammunition, and other things in people's houses. Hmm. Hmm. So, whose fault is that? Now, then what happened just a couple days back? There was a massive explosion in Beirut, or a set of massive explosions in Beirut that leveled around a whole entire city block. And on that city block was the headquarters of Hezbollah, which was having a very large meeting of all the members. Now, as it turns out, apparently, this happened at the same time when Benjamin Netanyahu, the president of Israel, happened to be in Washington, D.C. And there's actually a photo of him ordering, or at least approving, the strike. Now, as it turns out, the Israelis posed somewhat of a bait. They had Netanyahu go to Washington for a variety of reasons. And with the knowledge that Netanyahu was in Washington and not going to be available for big decisions, the Hezbollah leadership felt confident enough to assemble in one location, thinking that because Netanyahu is there, no decision to strike them would be taken. They were, of course, wrong. So, virtually the entire leadership of Hezbollah was wiped out. And it was known that Nasrallah was in the building. And it seemed to the Israelis that, we would think that he would be dead because, we know he was there and the entire place was blown up. No one's going to survive that. So we're pretty sure he's dead. And today, it was confirmed by Hezbollah that the leader, the big daddy, the big jefe, the head honcho of Hezbollah is no more. He has died. He has passed from this earth, unfortunately. Now, what this means for Hezbollah is that all the different units, all the different divisions, now have no unified leadership to respond to. They're not going to be getting orders coming down to them. So essentially now, every unit, every division, every brigade of Hezbollah is now their own organization, effectively speaking, with their own leader. At least for the moment being, before they can reform a leadership structure, Hezbollah now effectively no longer exists as one singular organization. Now, this is a massive, massive, huge achievement that I would have never thought was possible before a ground invasion. Now, this is the case with Hamas in Gaza, but this only became the case after several months of ground operations in Gaza, conducted by the Israeli military, the IDF. And now, before Israel has even gone in through the border of Lebanon to attack Hezbollah, they've already rendered it an incapacitated, decapitated organization running around like a chicken without a head. So, unless these individual brigade commanders can correspond with each other adequately, there's not going to be an adequate response if and when Israel decides to go over the border and attack Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. This is devastating, devastating news for one of the Axis powers. In fact, the largest and most well-armed non-state organization or non-state fighting force in this world. There is no group that's not associated with the government that has more resources, more bombs, more weapons than Hezbollah. Even organizations like the Sinaloa or Jalisco cartel don't actually have the amount of weapons and bombs and, frankly, fighting ability or resources in which to conduct fighting as does Hezbollah. They're the most powerful non-state organization, most well-armed non-state organization in the world. And they now have no more leadership. Sucks to be a member of Hezbollah now. And now, as it turns out, even before they were using these pagers and walkie-talkies, they had everyone's cell phones bugged. They know where everyone is. The Israelis know where everyone is. They know who's a member of Hezbollah. They know where they live. They know where they are. And they're coming to get them. because in the coming days it is expected that Israel will begin their ground operation in southern Lebanon. Now, the whole purpose of this ground operation is not a invasion of Lebanon per se. Israel is not at war or in conflict with the government of Lebanon, though I'm sure the government of Lebanon will not be particularly pleased that the Israelis will soon be going over their border. But the war is between Hezbollah and Israel, not between Lebanon and Israel. The goal of it, again, is to push Hezbollah north of a certain river that runs through Lebanon out of the mountains and towards the sea, in order to create a buffer zone where, effectively speaking, they won't easily be able to strike cities in northern Israel with their missiles and rockets. Now, much of northern Israel has been evacuated due to the constant missile threat. Interesting to note, the majority of the population in northern Israel is actually Arabic, not Jewish. So actually the majority of these people who've been displaced by these people who want death upon the Jewish population are actually affecting more Arabs than anyone else. Something to note. The goal of this, of course, is for those people to be able to go back to their homes, to go back to their towns. Towns like Kiryat Shimona, which has been pretty heavily hit often. And even secure cities like Haifa, which have been hit quite often by Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. Now, this will most likely be done, and I expect it to be quite successful. Given that Hezbollah has no unified leadership anymore, I have my doubts about the individual brigades and divisions and units being able to really effectively coordinate with one another. Now, I think that there will be some coordination. There will be leaders of different brigades and units talking to each other. But it's not going to be well organized enough for them to effectively respond to Israel. I expect a relatively quick rout. And if they don't quickly rout, it'll be a lot of hiding in basements. That's what it's going to be. So, the leader of Hezbollah is dead. Hezbollah as an organization is disabled. Their doom is rapidly approaching.